Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for a Deadside video. This time, update 0.2.0 is right around the corner and we have been testing this update on the private test server with a few community members for a little while now, and it's fair to say that it's looking pretty good. Obviously we have been waiting for this update for quite some time, and the team has been working quite a lot and on tons of new features like the base raiding, the new base building management system, new weapons, new attachments, new logics for the bots, new activities like the Convoy Mission, several new large POIs that look very good in the new zone in the south side of the map, and also improvements to the existing POIs, so that's pretty good as well. In this video I will do a quick preview of some of the content that will be coming with this update. It will be available to all players on the test server fairly soon, I believe, and then hopefully it will go live for everyone within the next 3 days, hopefully. I will also share my impression about this new update. The Scar uses the 5.56 ammo and I absolutely love this weapon on single fire mod. Without the compensator, the weapon is pretty hard to control in full auto, but that's the case with pretty much all weapons now. But it really is a pleasant weapon to use in single fire mode. Put the compensator for the 5.56 and it suddenly becomes an absolute beast. I personally prefer using it with a medium to long range scope like the hunting scope or the Elcan scope. Although I would not consider the Scar as an alternative to long range rifle, it's still pretty good and a good compromise if you cannot get a sniper rifle or you don't want to invest a lot of money in expensive ammo. And I get the feeling that it would be easier to find silencers for 5.56 weapons compared to silencers for long-range rifles like the VSD or the Mosin and the M99. Once we get the feature to switch aim mode as well on combo sights, like switch between the 1x and the 4x on the Elcan scope, I think the Scar will become a very popular weapon in my opinion. The FAMAS is one of the new weapons as well, and it has a much faster rate of fire and is much harder to control even with the 5.56 compensator in my opinion. Although still very efficient in single fire and with the scope, I find it more useful in full auto and with an extended mag, turning the FAMAS into a mini deadly LMG. And yes, we also had extended mags for ARs, so we could use the 40 rounds mag on the Scar, the M4 and the FAMAS, which is pretty cool. In terms of new attachments, we could try the different muzzle brakes, which really changes the recoil of your weapon. The recoil for weapons got completely revamped, and weapons without muzzle brakes are going to be much harder to control in full auto. In terms of silencers, we could only test those for pistols, and I believe this is something that most people will truly enjoy in PvP, since it really makes it really hard to hear where the shots are coming from, but you still hear the impact of the bullets. As for the bots, they do not react to the sounds, but they will react to the bullet impacts. As for the silencers for the ARs and the SMGs, I believe these will be coming at a later stage, but in the meantime, I believe we could find extended mags for the UMP, the Scorpion. I don't think we had anything for the Bison, but I'm pretty sure I saw extended mags for the MP5 as well, which is honestly a lot of fun to use with the extended mag. Really enjoyable weapon. Now let's talk about the base raiding, because that's something that most people have been looking forward to testing. The base raiding and the new base building system are two new features coming into Deadside. As previously announced, the base owner can invite players to help build and manage the base, making the whole resource gathering process, which is now easier with the full auto click when chopping wood, and crafting the base module a lot easier and a lot better. This is an important improvement since you are likely to lose quite a few wards when your base gets raided. So how does it work when you want to raid a base and when your base gets raided? So let's just say I kill the player, a random one, anywhere on the map. And that player has a chance to drop what we call a raid token, which will be valid for 1 hour. So for 1 hour, I can consume that raid token to display an area where the base is located. it would give me a vague idea of where it is, but I would still have to search and find the correct base within that area. Only bases in raid mode can be damaged, and everyone can see that raid zone on the map and everyone can join the raid. So let's say there are more than one base within that area. Let's say there are 3 different bases or 2 bases in that raid area that just gets displayed on the map after using the raid token. I have a 50% chance of actually finding the right one right away. So there is a risk of me wasting a C4 charge because, well, I found the wrong one. So just to recap, you have 1 hour to use the raid token from your inventory, and once used you have 1 hour to raid the base. Now let's assume you found the correct base right away. You will need C4 charges to break the different walls and doors. 1 C4 charge per module. You can place up to 5 charges at once and detonate all of them at once as well. You can also shoot the C4 charge if you prefer. It's 1 C4 charge per inventory slot. Now, once you have access to the crates in the base, which can only be accessed by everyone once the raid mode for this base has been activated, otherwise only the members of that base can access the crates, you have until the end of the countdown to loot whatever you can and keep whatever you can with you. One thing I forgot to mention as well is that you can now craft a respawn at your base. So if you got killed and you know that your raid token got stolen, you know that it is likely someone will try to raid your base within the next hour. So you can go there, you can respawn at your base and prepare for whoever might be trying to raid your base. And if nobody does it within that first hour, then you know that nobody will anytime soon, at least until you get killed again and lose your raid token. Now let's talk about the new locations. I'm not going to deep dive too much in all the new POIs in this video because, well, I want you to discover them as you discover the new updates and not everything gets spoiled. And so there are a lot of new things. But what I've enjoyed the most were the new factory in the west of the new area in the south part of the map. It's a huge place with a lot of different types of buildings, a lot of rooftops, and you can access pretty much everything. What I really liked as well is that you had an underground cooling pipe connecting some of the buildings together, which kind of helps you getting closer to the main factory building without being seen. You can also climb the big silos and the chimneys, and you can also climb those huge cranes at the harbor. It's honestly one of the coolest places in Deadside right now. I really enjoy it. Convoy also got improved by quite a lot, and now you're gonna have a lot more stuff around that city. A lot of gas pipes for whatever reason. I think that must have been the theme of this update. It's like gas pipes everywhere. I don't know why, but it's pretty cool. And obviously new apartment complexes as well that you can actually access. I'm gonna talk about those a bit later. And then the POI next to it also has some sort of factory that gives you a really nice view on the mission location. There are more stuff that really shows you there was a military presence before, and the place offers a lot more tactical approaches than before, where you could potentially do a lot more from long range by sniping enemies from the factory and then make your way to the POI to finish the mission and so on. It looks a lot nicer, and honestly it really gives me this really nice DayZ vibes, and I think a lot of people will really enjoy this location. Dubovo is a new POI in the east side of the map, close to the swamp, and is a typical small village that includes 2 medium-sized apartment complexes which you can enter, while before you could not get in those buildings. And you will have different types. I mean, the outside more or less looks the same, but some of them you can only access the ground floor and maybe the first floor, and some others you can actually go all the way to the roof, and you can get in pretty much all flats. Some flats have missing doors, some of them have everything, and you can go on the balcony of pretty much every flat. So, be aware of campers, be aware of snipers, and I really enjoy these new apartment complexes, to be honest. They are really, really cool. There are quite a few new locations on the maps, especially in the south zone, because it's a new one, and plenty of new gameplay experiences. I think there will be a lot of new tactics to use there. There are small to medium to very large new POIs. Some of them will be ideal for small groups or solo players, and some of them would probably most definitely require large groups to get there and survive there. And I can really imagine clan versus clan kind of fights there. It's really cool. And just bear in mind, you know, some of those POIs, just like we've seen since the release of the game, will get improved even more moving forward. So I'm really excited about this. Now let's talk about the new activity, the Convoy Mission. The Convoy Mission appears on the map with a regular icon, a yellow one, and moves around. So basically it follows the bots. You can more or less predict the direction they're gonna take, and you can prepare your ambush. Either you can use, you know, weapons, or you can use snipers, or you can use C4 charges. That's entirely up to you. Some of the bots though are very hard and much harder than others, kind of like mini bosses, and you should most definitely be careful when attacking a convoy. One of those bots will drop a container and it will appear on the ground right away, so you can just pick it up and it will appear in your inventory and it will take 1 slot. Once picked up, the container will be in your inventory and a yellow zone will appear and follow you on the map. And a notification will be sent to all players on the server that someone, and it will show your name, picked the container up. The yellow zones, like I said earlier, will update and it will follow you on the map. It will give other players a vague idea of your location. It's not gonna be like you're in the center of that yellow zone, but it's a fairly small zone, so it's not that hard to actually guess where you're gonna be. So that's when things get really tricky, since you need to make your way back to one of the traders to open the container and get the content. Now, as said, traders, I didn't say a safe zone. So that means you can go to any wandering traders and open the containers there. Obviously, you still have to make your way back to the safe zone and, you know, store the items you got from the container. But it's entirely up to you what you want to do with that container. And it's worth noting that the yellow zone remains even if the container is not picked up. So you can decide if you want to take the container with you and return it, or not return the container and use it as bait. Maybe put a couple of tripwire and C4 charges around the container and wait for someone to come collect it. It's a valid tactic, and, you know, probably one of the greatest ways to get, you know, raid tokens, basically. So yeah, it's entirely up to you what you want to do with those containers. And it's pretty fun, but it's a pretty hard one to get in the first place. So, as previously announced in the dev blogs, we're also getting the Ghillie Suits, and, you know, it's pretty standard. You get a top, you get a bottom, and then you get 4 inventory slots per item, and it's pretty good. It really makes things harder to spot you. I'm not gonna lie, like, if you're not wearing a backpack, or if you're using a small backpack and you only have 1 weapon, and then you just hide and you don't move, and you hide in the bush, honestly, it's going to be pretty hard to spot you. Now, the other thing we are getting is new item skins, and I have to say, it's not just for weapon skins, by the way. We are getting new skins for body armors and helmets that really look very cool, and kind of, I don't know, it gives me a vibes that we are finally getting, you know, like, we're feeling that there are factions in this game, and you kind of like, you could use these to represent your clan, and you can really feel like the bots might have different factions. It's really cool. They look very good. We didn't see the new system to import, export, you know, skins with Steam. So we're gonna have to wait for the update to be live for this. The other thing is the new cosmetic items as well. So we get new items like caps and sunglasses that, you know, just makes you look cooler than ever, really, more fashionable. So that's pretty cool. So there is obviously a lot more going into this update, and I will let you discover all of that once you have access to the build. There will obviously be other content creators, you know, making videos to deep dive into the new recoil system and how the different muzzle attachments are changing the recoil and the stats and whatnot. But I think from my side I will focus more on the guides and the gameplay videos, because I think Deadside is in a very good place right now and it's going to be very fun. And you know, what I want to say is that all the work and the effort and the love that went into this update, and I know it took quite some time to have it delivered to the players, and we're almost there. But honestly, you know, I think a lot of people will be really happy with this update and how Deadside will play with this new content. And to be honest with you, you know, this update mostly focuses on the PvP side of the game, but it really takes it to a level that really enables Deadside to compete seriously against other games like DayZ. But just provides a more modern, you know, graphic style and gameplay and whatnot. This update will soon be available to everyone on the private test server, and I believe it's only a matter of days before it gets released to everyone on Steam. Let me know what you are the most excited about in the comments below, and leave a like if you are very excited about this Deadside update. If you are new to the channel, I'm R.O.D.E, and I mostly covers tactical shooter games like 0 Hour and Deadside. If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing and to take the bell to never miss any of my future videos. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.